Beverley Knight, welcome to the Peace Hall.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here.
Beverley, we woke this morning to the incredibly sad news that Sly Stone has died, an incredibly influential artist.
Very important artist, not only for me, but for modern music. He completely changed the game when he came along. He was one of those musical titans. He was a genius for a start, but he was one of those titans who, upon appearing on the music scene, he made everything after him completely different. Not only in what we were hearing, that blend of funk, folk, rock, R&B, soul, all blended into one and yet being its own genre. But visually, America had never seen that kind of interracial black, white band. They'd never seen, male and female. That kind of blend just did not exist. And it was Sly who brought that to the fore, along with his brother, his sister, and, his unbelievably talented musician friends.
What a legacy.
The legacy is unstoppable, really. From absolute funk classics like Thank You for Letting Me Be Myself Again and Sing a Simple Song with just unrelenting funk, but the socio-political messages wrapped up in an accessible way. The song Stand is such an absolute anthem for civil rights, everyday people. He had a way of saying what needed to be said, but it was so easy to sing along to, and yet there was complexity in the music, and never, ever, ever without that funk backbeat. It's just remarkable.
Did you ever get to see him live?
I did get to see Sly live. I went to the Montreux Jazz Festival. I was performing and I did my slot and I stayed up until I think it must have been about 2 a.m. and the Family Stone were on and they were jamming and we were all waiting, where's Sly? And eventually the great man himself came on stage, and once he sat behind the organ, it was crazy, absolutely crazy.
And you must have sung so many of his songs on stage.
Do you know, I've never actually sung a Sly song, try saying that quickly, in front of an audience, only singing along to the records and things like that. But I'm hoping, as a celebration and as a way of honouring his incredible body of music, that I get the chance to sing one of his songs on stage. That'd be amazing.
And there you are in the T-shirt.
And there I am. And I bought this T-shirt 2 weeks ago because I just felt like going down a Sly kind of rabbit hole and thought, I'm going to get myself some merch. I just love him so much. And then here we are. I think when I think of Sly, I think he gave birth spiritually to Prince, who is my idol. And I also think that for humanity, we needed a Sly Stone at that particular time in history.
You played with Prince, didn't you?
I did.
I mean, that's insane.
It was insane. It was insane. Every time I think of it, I think, did that really happen to me? Yes, because I can name a list of people who were all there and watched it. Incredible.
How did it come about?
His office called me, so I was asked to open for him at the O2, which I did. When he heard me sing, he then asked me to nip across to the Indigo to do his after show, which I was delighted because I tried to get in and couldn't. Now I was going to be on the stage. I was like, result. It was a dream come true. And then he asked me to fly to Los Angeles to perform at his Oscars party. Although he didn't tell me that. He just said, I want you to come to LA this weekend. And I had no idea why, until I found myself in his house with a mic in my hand.
What was his house like?
It was his rented house. There was I remember the glowing purple love symbol when I walked in, and lots of kind of pictures and murals of him. But there was this one room where we all performed, where he'd had a makeshift stage set up, and The Great and Good of Hollywood was all crammed in there. And me.
What an experience.
Really was.
You've had so many incredible moments through your life.
Yes.
Not least 3 Mobos.
3 Mobos, yeah.
An MBE.
Yes.
And I guess that you're here tonight supporting Gary Barlow at the Peace Hall. And
yeah.
I'm guessing that you've been a fan of Take That since the 90s?
Oh, God. I mean, who didn't love Take That? I thought songs like Pray, killer, absolute killer song, you know. I remember that was the one that made me go, oh, okay, you guys have got some groove going on here. Of course, they had all the slick moves and everything. Yeah, that was a time, oh my God, when those guys were together. But what was remarkable for me was, you know, years after they kind of went their separate ways and Robbie became Robbie and Gary did what he was doing, and, you know, getting that call in 2006 to join them on stage, you know, that was fabulous. I've never had so many friends in my life, everybody wanting, tapping me up for tickets. That was a wonderful, wonderful show, that comeback show that they did, that they then took to stadiums because the arenas couldn't hold them. Yeah. It was wonderful to be a part of that. And all these years later, my niece is now on stage with Gary, and she is singing Relight My Fire, which of course I did in 2006. So for me, it's a wonderful full circle moment.
And are you still loving being on stage as much as ever?
The one thing you can guarantee about me, if there's anything to say about me, is that I love the stage. I will always love the stage. It is my home. There is no greater joy in my life.
Can you differentiate? Is there a difference between performing outright as Beverley Knight, and you've been doing so much musical theatre, award-winning musical theatre? You win awards for everything, don't you? Is there a difference for you?
There is a difference. I, as an artist, obviously have complete free reign. I can edit songs, I can extend them as I want to, I can change within reason, you know, what I'm doing at the spur of a moment. Full creative control. When you're on stage, you know, and you're playing somebody, you're part of a world, and every single person has a very crucial part to play in that world. It's lots of little cogs coming together to create the whole. And that means you've got to play your part. You've got to stick to what the brief is, you know, the blocking, the songs, the whole vibe, the nothing moves, nothing changes. But I like that.
Is there less of a buzz?
No, there is a huge buzz. It's going on stage every night because the audience is different. The show remains the same, the way you sing it, the blocking, all of those things, but the audience is different. And that is the palpable difference that you need to bring something extra to a show that you're doing night after night after night without change.
Which of the musicals have you loved doing most?
That is a really hard question to answer. I think Memphis will always have a special place in my heart because it was such an incredible show, so hard-hitting, ahead of its time for, you know, in terms of the social world that we were living in back in 2014, 2015. I think if it had come out in 2020, it couldn't because of the pandemic, but if it had come out post-2020, I think audiences would have really understood its power, you know. But it was an incredible show. And I have to give love to Sylvia because, of course, you know, I was lucky enough to win the Olivier Award for that role. So that will always be very special too.
And something new now, you're playing Sister Rosetta.
I'm playing Sister Rosetta Tharpe in Marie and Rosetta. It's a dream role, honouring a woman who, for me, belongs on the Mount Rushmore of the architects of rock and roll, along with your Chuck Berrys and your Ike Turners and your Muddy Waters and those guys that built it, Jerry Lee Lewis and Little Richard, she came before all of those, with the exception of T-Bone Walker. She came before all those guys. They all looked to her. Elvis had her as his favourite guitar player. And so to tell her story and to explain her place in music history over the course of one night with her incredible singing partner, Marie and Rosetta, played beautifully by a wonderful young actress called Ndombizodwa Ndlovu, is for me a great, great honour. She really just changed the game when she came along. People just didn't see females playing guitar. She was one of the earliest adopters of the electric. We have the famous Gibson Les Paul SG-1 in white on stage with us. I don't play it, I interpret it. We have wonderful players. It's a glorious, glorious show with lots of heart.
How have you found getting into character as Sister Rosetta?
So I worked hard on the physicality of Sister Rosetta. She was a woman who took up space. She was sassy and bold and fearless. I can relate to those, but, you know, she was a thicker woman. I'm pretty slight. So I kind of had to really work on that physicality, that kind of larger-than-life vibe that she had. The joy was always there, so that was easy. Getting my tongue around, you know, deep southern accent of that time was interesting and a challenge, but I enjoyed that too.
Of that time specifically, yeah.
Doing my best of that time because the text demanded it. There's a lot of old African American, you know, idiosyncratic things within the text, and I really wanted to try and bring that out as much as I could. So it was hard work, but I loved it. And once I put the wig on and the Sister Rosetta mole, I was like, yeah, there she is.
What do you still want to do, Beverley? What is there left to do?
So much. So much. There's film, there's TV, there's, oh my God, there's maybe more awards. There is the US. So much I want to do, so much. But at the heart of it all will be music.
Yeah. And you're here supporting Gary Barlow at the Peace Hall. What a venue, right?
It's beautiful here. Absolutely stunning. Or as Gary would say, absolutely fantastic. Halifax, you've been wonderful.
Beverley, thank you so, so much.
My pleasure.